This is the group chat. In a world that focuses on the individual, we live life in groups. The group chat is meant to spark meaningful conversations about meaningful topics. We think in community, talk in community, and thrive in community. Welcome to the group chat. Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Telos.
And I'm HB.
And this is the group chat. It is meant to spark meaningful conversations about meaningful topics. And we are on episode 1.
Numero uno.
It's nuts. I think our name is super dope.
I love it. I love a good group chat.
And I hate a bad group chat, more importantly.
Hate it so much.
Is a good group chat better than a bad group chat?
100%. Yes.
For some reason, group chats just bring out the funny in everybody.
Memes going back and forth the whole time.
You got to have skin of steel in a good group chat.
But the worst thing is when you get behind on a group chat.
Yo, you have to mute that junk. Put on Do Not Disturb or else.
It's a wrap. I'll come back tomorrow.
Oh, it's not worth it at all. I've removed myself from group chats because you get so far behind.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can't jump back in. You jump back in, everyone's like, oh, look, where has he been? What's he doing?
You're replying from like 100 texts up. People are like, what the? Okay.
Like, what are you talking about? You just put in like, hey, guys, what time we meeting? And everyone's like, boo, boo.
You know what is actually really bad about group chats is when you're with an Android.
No, here's the reason that's not bad is because we don't invite them to the group chat.
You don't even make a group chat with Android.
You need a third-party app to talk with an Android. That joke doesn't make any sense. How are we in 2021 and you still can't get into the party?
It's like, oh, yeah, I love you guys so much. So-and-so liked this message. So-and-so. And it's just the same thing over and over. And I'm like, gosh, help us out.
Yo,
help
and
us out.
they start responding really from like 6 hours ago. Be like, I just got this message. And we don't even go and talk about the green messages. You ruined the whole vibe. Oh, yeah, we don't even get... So this is an iPhone only group chat. That's what this is. And we are here because we really think that meaningful conversations are meant to happen in groups.
Yep.
Our world is so focused on the individual. It's whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. If it makes you happy, doesn't hurt anybody else, you do it. And I think that's just not the way that Jesus lived.
Absolutely not.
The one guy who could live that way chose not to, right? So he had all of these friends who he was walking around with, and he was inviting them into his life. And so what this group chat is really meant to be is meant to be a way and a vehicle for us to spark those conversations, but they don't end here, right?
Yeah.
Like you bring them into your group
chat.
Right, exactly. Exactly. And so what we want to do here is we're going to talk about everything under the sun.
Oh,
there's nothing that's off limits. Absolutely. We're probably going to regret saying that. But there's nothing that's off limits in the group chat. Why? Because we feel like even the controversial topics, even the big topics, the scary topics, those are the ones that we really need to be having in groups. Because if we don't, what's the alternative, right? We have them by ourselves. We start thinking by ourselves. And that's not helpful to anybody. So this is supposed to be helpful to you and to us. We're going to bring in some guests. We're going to get a whole bunch of different perspectives. And we encourage y'all to write in. What are we in 1980? Write a letter, a pigeon, and carry it in his talents.
What is that called? Courier?
A pigeon carrier or something?
Courier mail, something like that. I don't even know.
Yo, when I was in Montana whenever I forgot when I was there, literally me and my friend went into this town and we felt like we were in Back to the Future, but we went backwards. We went back in time. I promise you. I can no lie, honest Abe here. We went back in time. Why? Because when we were walking in this town, first of all, there was like a clock tower, and we were like, what? What is a clock tower doing in 2021?
I can barely tell time with like a normal watch face. Just give me the numbers, not like all the arms. And
you like ask Siri, what time is it, Siri?
Actually, though.
And so, but that wasn't the worst part. It was super old. Like everything was like brick. They had like...
Brick is not old. Let's start there. Everything was brick.
It feels like it had the filter, like the Paris filter that used to be on Instagram was on the town. But the worst part about this town is they had a mailman walking by foot delivering mail.
No.
I am not kidding. He had a satchel, walking on the sidewalk, walking up to everybody's door, delivering mail. He didn't. We drove around.
No hurry.
No, he had no truck. They couldn't afford a truck in this town.
Maybe he could.
No.
He had parked and said, "I'm gonna get my exercise in."
We checked. We drove around the block. This dude did not have a mailman car.
Man.
I don't even know what you call him. He was walking by foot. We traveled back in time. I'm taking that to my grave.
Shout
we went
out
back
to
in
Montana.
time. Montana. I don't even know how we got there. Oh, yeah. So if you want to ask us a question, you have a topic that you'd want to hear our perspective about, all you got to do is you can DM us on Instagram or leave it in the comments. Our Instagram is going to be lift_youth, LFT_YTH, or leave it in the comments.
Yep.
Right below this video. Do whatever you want to do. You could text us if you have our number. If you don't have our number, we don't want you to have our number.
Sorry about it.
So here's my question for you. To start it off, right? I think that we would both agree that community is important.
So crucial.
Crucial.
Essential.
A non-negotiable, right?
Imperative.
It needs to be there.
Yeah.
So can you remember a time in your life when you didn't have a community, or you didn't have friends, or you had the wrong community or the wrong friends?
I can think of both. Multiple times, right?
And what effect did that have on your life?
Oh my gosh, it was tragic. I remember when I went to college. So I went to college in Alabama, 12 hours away from my hometown. And I was so excited to like get out of Northern Virginia, like do
703.
HB. The 703, come on, 571. What is 571?
It's DC.
Oh, 703.
Live here like your whole life and you still don't know. The 703.
No, but like when I went to college, I grew up in a Christian home, had like this great, just like faith, right? Knew all the right things to say, all that jazz. Went to college and was like, let's do this.
In a bad way.
No, in like I was pumped to get like involved in campus ministry, like all the things. I had just come off of like basically like an ENC conference.
Oh, great.
I was like, put me in, coach.
Yeah.
I am ready. And that like backfired on me because I just did not feel like I fit really in any of the campus ministries that I was in.
Yeah.
Or that I attended. And so literally like I gave each one like one try and I was like, nah, this ain't it. Which was my fault. But then I was pretty much just like, Lord, like this is me and you. And that's when I figured out like, that's not like, it's great to have that one-on-one time with God. It's necessary. It needs to happen every day, but that you should have community. And so the friends that I made being so far away from home, I like literally knew no one but my brother and like some guys on the basketball team because I worked with the basketball team. And then from then on out, it was just like, just getting involved in the wrong crowd and then just seeing how that was just like this snowball effect to literally every single pocket of my life. And no bueno.
Yeah.
No bueno. But guess what? Praise God, here we are. I guess it was like spring semester of freshman year. I went to another campus ministry and rededicated my life to the Lord and
started
community.
From the bottom, and now we're here.
Praise God, though, for real, because who knows where I'd be.
Man, I know exactly where I would be if I didn't have a community. It was a similar story. My freshman year of college, mine was like interesting because did you do random roommates?
Yeah.
College?
Well, we like, you could click if you're like a morning person or a night person.
Right, yeah.
But like, I mean, it was.
You fill out a survey and they use it or don't use it.
Don't.
Yeah. So I had all these roommates, right? Freshman year of college. I loved my freshman year of college.
Me too.
And
kind of.
We should have had a reality TV show. Not going to lie. Imagine 12 dudes in a room. And then just no supervision. No one cares about class.
Hold on. How did you have 12 people?
Exactly. So long story short, one room had 10. Technically, I was in a room that had 4. So me and one of my roommates, we pretty much moved into the other room. And it was great because I slept in my room, 17006A, but I went over to my other room pretty much to live.
Okay.
And so me and my friend would always go over to the other room. And so we said we were like 12, although there were 10 in there plus us too.
So wait, how many like beds were in there? 10,
in the 10?
10?
10 beds.
How many rooms? It was a
1,
suite,
2,
I'm guessing.
3, 4. No, sorry. There were 8 in there. 10 of us total. There were 4 rooms. 2 to a room.
How many bathrooms did y'all have?
Connect to bathroom. 2 connect to bathroom.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We had like 2, and then it like both of those. So like I only shared a bathroom with my roommate, which was.
You had your own room.
So
like you slept in your own space.
No, it was me and my roommate in one room, and we shared a bathroom. And then next door to us, like you left the room in the kitchen area, but we didn't have like a living area.
Gotcha.
That was the other room, and they had their own bathroom.
Yeah, so our room was 2, connect to a bathroom, 2. So my room was specifically 4, their room specifically 8. And so they just had like a ton of people in there, plus us 2. So it was a party all the time.
Reality show.
Oh, yeah. It was, yeah. Yeah, it was fights. It was substances. It was a lot of stuff. Like everything you could imagine. It was failing
so
grades.
you had community.
Oh, I had community. Oh, yeah. No, I was surrounded by people for sure, but it wasn't necessarily the right people, right?
Yeah.
And so what it was for me is that I honestly felt like every step I took forward, I took 2 steps backward.
Yeah.
You know, when you're walking up like sand and you're like going uphill and you feel like, oh, I got some steps, and you're just like sliding back. That was like the whole thing about me is freshman year. I would try so hard to go and do this thing pretty much by myself.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really check out too many campus ministries. I checked out a few, but kind of like you, was
one
like,
and done.
I'm a head out.
Better not.
I'm a head out. And I felt the consequences because I was trying so hard to do this thing by myself, and ended up, I mean, just with regrets that I could have avoided.
Sure.
If I had chosen differently. And a lot of what our world is in right now is like focusing on the individual. Like, what do you want and what do you want to do? And I'm wondering, like, what do you think about that? You think that's a bad thing? You think that we should be focusing on individuals? Like, you live your truth, you have your dream. Like, what is the benefit of focusing on the individual, or what's like the detriment of focusing on the individual?
Yeah. I mean,
and also because you've been in a bunch of different countries, and those countries did not focus on individuals, right? Like, they focus on like a family unit. A lot of places you've been to.
Yeah. I would say there's definitely times to focus on the individual. When it comes to your relationship with the Lord, and that's not it, but yeah, I think our society, our culture just says like you please yourself, and in every single area of your life, in every single sphere. And I feel like that, I mean, we've seen it firsthand in our own lives of just it like spiraling downhill. Like the moment that you get sin into one area, it just like creeps into the next, and then the next, and the next, and it's that sand. It's like you might even not even get a step forward, and then guess what? You're all the way back at the bottom of that hill.
Yep.
And so yeah, what was your other question? You said
like, what's the benefit or what's the negative of focusing on the individual?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that's definitely the negative. The benefit is like when you are, I mean, like being single. Gosh, we're going there, but just like being a single and an individual, even I guess if you're in a relationship or married, like there needs to be that individual time, I think, with you and the Lord. And definitely like pursuing your dreams and your purpose and your calling, like whatever that is. I think that's the time when it is beneficial, but that's not at all what our world says.
Yeah. I remember a time when I was hanging out with some people who kind of just spoke more colorful language than I did.
I understand.
Yeah. And so I remember going into that group and I was like, man, I'm going to change them. I don't know if you've ever been there, but I was like, oh, I'm going to be the one that's like holding the standard. I'm not going to do X, Y, and Z. And I remember like a week went by, and all of a sudden, I remember so vividly, I let a little colorful word slip when I was like 12 or whatever, 13, right? And I was like, I remember I thought I was going to hell. I was like, this is it for me. I'm dying. Once Dad finds out, he's going to, like, I'm like, I can't do this. I have to tell Dad, and then I have to tell Dad, and like,
I'm
just
living in the house forever.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm never going to be let out again because I said this word, right? And I just, like, I realized that, like, there's this almost like arrogance that came with me trying to live life by myself and thinking I was like the hero of my own story and all these types of things. And Proverbs speaks about this in in a beautiful way. It says in Proverbs 11:14, where there's no counsel, the people fall.
Yep.
But the multitude of counselors, their safety. And when we read stuff like that, we can say, oh, man, that's beautiful for that time. And sometimes it might not feel like it is for us. Like it's distant or counselor. What does that mean? But ultimately, I think it's like, who do you surround yourself with? And then what are they speaking to you?
Yeah.
That idea of like, you show me your friends, I'll show you your future, right? And to be able to live in that place, it's like we need that community. And for me, I was in a place where I thought I could change it because I was like, oh, I'm not going to cover my light with a lampshade. And ultimately, I realized that I was putting myself in a poor situation because I was trying to live life by myself.
Yeah. How did you like get out of that? Like you were talking about like freshman year, you know, you were maybe like with the wrong crowd. So like, how did you break out of that?
Yeah, the way I broke out of it, honestly, was that I distanced myself from them.
Yeah.
Not in a rude or unloving
Sure.
way, but I was like, all the time I spent with them, I still played video games with them. We still hung out. We still went out to eat, all that type of stuff. And once I distanced myself from that, I also pursued something else. So I pursued some relationships that I found who were running in the same direction I was.
Yeah.
It's like you're running with a parachute if you're running with people who aren't running in the same direction.
Yeah.
It's like they're pulling this way, you're pulling that way. Which way are you guys going to go? You guys are kind of pulling against each other. And so one of the things for me was I really had to distance myself from the situation that I was in that wasn't helpful and then find people
Right.
who are running in the same direction as me. By the grace of God, I found some amazing people who I'm still friends with to this day. And it was so great because I realized it wasn't just for me. It was for them too, because they were looking for the same thing.
Yes.
And it made me think of like, man, I must be the only Christian out here who's like struggling and doesn't know what to do. And then as soon as we found each other, I found that they were thinking the same thing I was.
Literally.
And I was like, yo, and they were like, man, I've been looking for somebody. Like we can't find any people who are running in the same direction, who love God. And I was like, bro, I've been feeling the exact same thing. And it wasn't just for me, but it was for them.
Yeah.
And I wonder like how many people in the schools or the teams or the clubs or the group chats that we're in are really trying to live a Christian life, but they're being pulled back by the company that they're surrounded by. And then who are we missing out on blessing because we're living in isolation?
Absolutely.
It's not just for us, you know?
Yeah. No, that's like literally my story. Like when I went to that campus ministry, rededicated my life, like I was like, okay, God, I'm going to need some friends because the campus ministry was actually at a different university. And so I wasn't like in class with those people. I was like, well, all right, I guess I'm just going to go back to my campus. And like you were saying, like the one step forward. Okay. But then I'm like back on my campus, like a few steps back. And I guess it was sophomore semester that fall. I was like praying, like what you're saying, for someone to do life with, to like walk with, to be my community. And Dr. Jenna Ball, there she go.
Was she the first one?
Yeah, outside of like some of the people at Ransom at that campus ministry. But no, like one thing you had said was like removing yourself from that situation, like still like playing video games with those guys and like whatever. And I think there's a
come see me at Mario Kart, by the way.
Okay,
Tekken,
whatever.
Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros. We were bananas at those games. We went nuts, by the way.
Okay. I don't really play video games. So I play Pac-Man. Pac-Man, I could... Oh.
What is that, the first video game?
Probably.
How old are you?
Just like that thing that like plugs into the TV and the little joystick. Listen, I'm great at it. But I think there's, you know, like when you realize, okay, like I literally have to remove myself from this situation. Still loving those people from afar, but then knowing that just removing yourself isn't gonna, like, you have to fill that void. Like, you've spent so much time with those people, and it's like, okay, well, I could literally just take this community away, whatever we're doing in this community that's not honoring to God, remove it, and then go into a different space and just fill it with something else that's like dishonoring to God.
Absolutely.
You know, and so I think it's so important to sit here and be like, okay, well, what am I going to do? Like, what is honoring to God? And figuring that out. And then it's such a blessing when you have a crew of people to do it with. Oh,
absolutely. Yeah. Like, I think we're professional hole fillers. if there's a hole, we'll fill it with something.
Oh, yeah.
It might not be the best thing, but we will fill it with something.
I will find something.
Exactly, because we know that there's meant to be something in there,
Yeah.
but we just don't know what it is. And really, I think that kind of some of our college experience can be summed up by one verse in Corinthians that's talking about bad company corrupts good character, right?
Yep.
And I would hope that I had good character, and yet the people that I surrounded myself with brought me down. It's way easier to bring somebody down than it is to bring somebody up. And when we understand that, that's like I put myself at a disadvantage. You put yourself at a disadvantage, and we're fighting with a handicap because we're fighting alone.
Yeah.
And I don't mean for it to sound like, oh, we're fighting against friends. Like, oh, man, like they are the enemy.
Not at all.
By no means. But if community is the goal, then anything that stops us from that individualism is the enemy. And so whatever we can do to get away from that, I think is incredibly important. But, I mean, I think today it's so important, especially in COVID times, to have that person or those people who are really going to help bring you up. Like, I have a friend in Arizona who I talk to every single day. He doesn't live here. Like, I can't see him, but best believe, and it helps that he has an iPhone because we could not FaceTime.
Come on, listen.
If he had an Android.
I have one of my best friends in Alabama. FaceTime her every day, multiple times.
And there it is. So it's like, whoever that person is, I think you just find that person and then hold on for dear life.
Right.
And say, hey, by the way, I'm not letting go.
We're going to the grave.
Wherever you go, I go. If you leave me, I'm coming with you. That type of stuff is like, I am codependent. But you know, it's like, we're living together for the rest of our lives. I'm going to live in your basement when you're married. Okay, let's just stop it, Telos. You're going a little too far. But those people that you really, really do life with.
Those are gems.
Oh,
gems. And that's definitely something like praying for that if you don't have that.
Absolutely.
And then not just like, okay, well, I'm praying for it and I'm just going to sit in my room. Like, get plugged in places like youth group, your church, like wherever that is. Like, there are people that are searching for the same thing you are.
Absolutely. It's so easy to think we are the only one.
And that individualistic culture.
Oh, yeah. And I think it's because of that, like this gets into a whole different idea, but that fear of rejection, the fear that we are the only one. And if I put myself out there, or maybe we do have like an experience of putting ourselves out there and we were rejected. And so to those people who are like afraid of rejection, afraid of putting yourself out there, I would say this: there are probably people in your life or people in your community who are feeling the same way. And if you can't find a good friend, be a good friend. Exactly. Because there are probably people who are looking for a person like you. And how are they going to find you if we're just living by ourselves? How are they going to find you if you're not putting yourself out there? But it's so important to find somebody. And I before we end, I want to hit exactly what you said about prayer. Like, if we really look for it, I remember one of my mentors, he told me, we were talking, he's like, man, how's your life going? And this was a few years ago. And I was like, man, like for real, life is good, but I don't really have any friends, like guy friends. I don't have many of those. And he was like, really? You grew up with blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, yeah, but like some people are over there. They moved. Some, like pretty much all my friends were in different states at that point in my life. And I was like, I don't really have any friends here in Virginia. And he was like, man, pray for that. And I was like, I was hoping you'd give me a better answer than that.
I was hoping you would just say like, oh, well, I have a friend right here.
Exactly. I have a perfect friend with a perfect personality who was super funny, who's super cool, right?
Only if.
And I was like, fine, I'll pray. And then no lie, like within months, my best friend Sam hits me up and he's like, bro, I just gave my life back to Jesus.
Wow.
Like, we need to do this life together. And I was like,
thanks, God.
Maybe I should have prayed earlier. And it was like this, this immediate answer prayer to what it was. And so I definitely encourage you. I think that's a great point. What HB just brought up is pray for that if you're really looking for it, and then put yourself out there. Like, it takes courage to be a friend, and we want to be courageous friends. Yeah. And it starts with putting yourself out there.
For sure.
Awesome. Well, everybody, this has been the group chat. We hope that this has been helpful to you guys. We hope that you've learned something, that this has been maybe sparking conversations that you didn't even know you wanted to have, needed to have, enjoyed having.
Wanted to listen to.
Exactly. Nevertheless, if this helped you, we encourage you guys, send it to somebody, share it with a friend, or maybe have this conversation with somebody that you know, because just like we said, this group chat is meant to spark meaningful conversations about meaningful topics. So make sure that you guys subscribe. Make sure you guys share it. We love you guys, and we will talk to you later.
Bye.
Peace.